over. Hey guys, how was your Tuesday?
Hello, Scott. Thank you. Pretty good. Andy, hello.
Hi, Steve. Hello, Scott. Hi, everybody.
All right, everybody's mic is working, questions panel's working, and let's get started here. Let me delete that. All right, as people file in for another trade of the week here, just a quick disclaimer reminding you that we're not investment advisors or brokers. We don't accept fees because we can't accept them because we didn't take the tests. But if we were, we'd be probably on the golf course while you sent us your fees. But I digress. We are just a couple of traders and longtime users and employees of Trade Ideas. Anything you see or hear from us today should not be construed as financial advice. We're just a software as a subscription company, and you'll hear a couple of opinions, but those are just ours. All right. Yes, that was the lawyer with the head arrow through the head there. All lawyers get the arrow through the head. Moving on. You're not alone with Trade Ideas. We're using the product, Andy and myself. It's got a bit of a learning curve to it, but once you dial it in for the way you grow incredibly. And there is a learning curve, as I said, and the way to try and help you guys through it is a few different ways. We've got these afternoon webinars where we take some Q&A, primarily Barry's live trading room. Free is always a good price, and he rivals a lot of other good chat rooms and trading rooms out there that charge, 50, 75, or $100 a month. So if you're not familiar with that, you can tune into Barry's live trading room every day during market hours for the most part. And then we've got the we've got a session here. And essentially we jump onto a YouTube live stream. It's one of the 5 of us each day this week, and we just take Q&A. A lot of times people have questions and support that we can't necessarily handle over the phone, so we tell them to come to the URL. I wish that would show that URL down at the bottom. I think it's blocking it for some reason. And use the chat back and forth. All right, so that brings us to a theme that we see once a week here on Tuesdays, man and machine combined, Paul Tudor Jones quote down there. But it's just a reminder of the world we're going to be stepping into, and we're already in, is a world where humans and machines and algorithms work well together. We don't rely on just the algorithm or just the machine and turn our back on it and wait for the deposits to put money into our accounts. No, there's always a human element. And Andy will touch on that a little bit when he talks about the AI, but that's one of the primary reasons we have the AI is for the market, where to start. There's 8,000 symbols out there. You can go many different directions down the rabbit hole, but the AI kind of helps really focus you in the direction of probabilities. You're not going to really go wrong over the course of a month or two. The AI's performance has basically kind of casino odds. Does every single trade work? No, but in the long run, the majority of them do. And there's a great learning curve along the way to just point you in the right direction of what kind of trades you can get in and start to learn. Because let's face it, I mean, the way to learn is not to read or be told. The way to learn is to have it happen to you and learn not to do that again, or that worked, let's do that again. And you need that through seat time and many hours. And so the AI can help really provide you with some ideas. And from there, the management of the trade is usually better off in the human. I think Andy will talk a little bit about that. So that's always the theme. That's where we are. And Trade Ideas is a great way to curate that data hose, that fire hose of data, if you will, that we call the market. So some topics today. I'll talk about the market recap. A little interesting stuff today that I noticed. I think Andy noticed as well. Andy will talk about some of the AI trades, very few and far between, but solid nonetheless, I believe, both today and yesterday. The trade of the week, which is the theme of the week, we'll talk about that. It's Genesis and how he came about it and how to manage it. And there's a lot to talk about, actually, because it gapped up once again. We talked a couple of weeks ago about stocks that gap up that are the trade of the week. And we'll talk about some scenarios that might help next time if that happens. I'm also going to talk about the fastest time frame we have, and I'm not talking about charts. I believe 1-minute charts are pretty useless, and if you can make use of them and make them work for you, then more power to you. That's the beauty of it. But I find no value whatsoever in a 1-minute chart. But I do find value in 1-minute volume, and I'm going to kind of show you how you might be able to utilize that. And then lastly, well, not second to last, the junk stocks are flying, and I've got a concept on how to trade them. We'll touch on that as well, because there's always going to be something that's kind of trading in a goofy way that might be a small sector, which the sector I'm going to tease is basically the energy efficient stuff, the F cells and Ballard powers and the e-vehicles and things like that. Those seem to be just off the charts right now. Maybe they're following Tesla, I don't know. And then I think we can set some alerts. I'm getting ahead of myself, but the mining sector is looking awful interesting right now. So we might have some alerts that will names in the mining sector. So let's get started here on the basics of the market analysis. You know, we see a lot of red today. Okay, well, that's the one that's most interesting is in a second. But as you can see, of course, back there, I think we might be in for a possible trading range is one thing I said yesterday, but I'm going to actually delete that. We were high there in the post-COVID world for a lot of companies. And let's get into what happened today with Jamie in his session. You know, there's no way after a day like this in the NASDAQ, a beautiful brief day that are just start initiating back coming our way. It's more fairly weighted, so I'm really basing all my macro decisions off of the S&P, flaggy.
In the market, and who knows, maybe more. It's always nice to be kind of help you if you are NEO. And so we're broken down into 3 segments. I don't have the AI, Holly 2. Well, it looks for stocks that are trading volume and just some good news or bad news, whatever it might be. Not the case. 3 really going to have 2. Well, look at here in raw green. That tells you right there. But even with that huge sell-off, there 27.52 been fortunate enough to maybe sell off. So a very going to see this VSLR. Beautiful call this morning. Once it jump in, you what you may be hoping to see in your price action came out, and once again, looks like it must have been called in another other sections. Top where you would have had plenty of opportunity as well. So 3 really good calls from the NEO sector today. I hope some of you guys participated in that. And like Steve said, there was some good calls yesterday as well. So, and as we get into earnings season, I'm expecting to see even, you know, some consistency in the NEO because they're always looking for stocks, you know, that are doing volume. And you can see in all of these the relative volume. Look at this in HEPA, 85. That's huge relative volume. Look at all you got to do is look at that volume bar. All right, Steve, that's about it. Unless you have something you want to add.
No, I'm just typing away over here.
All right.
Questions.
Shoot it back. Yeah.
Good questions.
I'll shoot it back to you.
There we go. Perfect. All right. It's just a list of ideas that are just NK caught my eye for a lot of reasons. One, and on the move in a big way, and we don't know how the market's going to open up. We don't know how the stock is going to open up, and sometimes the trade of the week call might gap up. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. It did it, and it did it again this week. So this is the print that I loved. The idea of this beautiful wedge, nice triangle with 1, 2, 3 tests of the 10-day moving average. Beautiful looking chart, but where to put the entry? So the entry was right around, I believe, the high or a couple ticks above the high of Friday, 12.12, I think is what it was. Okay. Let's move forward, but more importantly, let's go to the intraday because I want to show you something. And I think this is kind of what might have been happening. I'm going to put on the pre-market, and I want to focus on this day right here. So this is, I think what probably could have happened is our 12.12 level was roughly right about here, eyeballing a lot of this stuff. And the point I'm showing you here is some people might have just decided, well, hell, you know, it's already pretty much at that level. I just might buy it pre-market and take a chance that it will gap up even more when the bell rings. And it did. It kind of gapped up a little bit higher when the bell rang, but notice that immediately, I will turn the pre-market off now because that was option number 1, to just go ahead and grab it at or near the pre-market price. Then for the regular folks that don't trade pre-market, we had an opening, a squirt higher, and then a big move back down lower. I will never ever chase something that is, you know, this much. I shouldn't say never. I just don't like to. I prefer not to. And I'll show you an example of how I played this, and you might want to do the same thing. Once that candle came in and that second candle started to grow, I said, well, it's probably shooting for the gap. You know, there's the gap. There's my favorite 10-period moving average right there. I probably should look to be a buyer in here for the trade of the week, even though I could jump in and just buy that support. I feel like it just wants its mission to complete, fill the gap. So I did, and it's in our fund. And I'll go ahead and click on, this is the simulator here. I always like to try and timestamp stuff I'm doing in the other account on the other computer that we all trade, but just kind of do it with the funny money here. And so NK, I'll click that symbol, and what happens is you'll see the blue line stamp in. So my simulated trade is showing you exactly right where I got interested. So after I bought it in the real account, I came over here because I knew I'd be talking about it, grab a couple of thousand shares of simulated fund money, and just buy it at that spot. Okay, so a little bit underwater here. All right, no big deal. And then it started to go for me. Okay, and then, well, back down, and would you know, it's going to retest these lows again, and then closes moderately. Okay, pretty much where I bought it. The next day, same, which is today, same darn thing happens again. Gaps up, and then comes down, and then predictably, those two lows yesterday are tested right here by the algorithms, and that was the signal that was probably time to go. And that little tick intraday looks beautiful on the daily chart. It just gives us yet another way of positioning yourself. There's absolutely no reason looking setup here. Now, the market gaps down tomorrow, and for some reason, again, there's a caveat in this trade. It is a pharmaceutical. Obviously something good is happening, so it probably should be a short-term move if we get it, but there's a bit more inherent risk on these overnight because they're pharmaceuticals. But nonetheless, we're going to take a chance on this one. I just like the chart, and I kind of like what's happening out there in the pharmaceuticals. So the play is 2 days old now. If you're positioned, there's really nothing to fear. What you don't want to see, and the big question is, okay, Steve, what if it doesn't work? And there's always a chance it doesn't work. Well, if it doesn't work, if you see a candle like this that rolls over and closes underneath that 10-period moving average, I'm out. And that's where I would suggest you get out as well. The second thing to keep an eye on is what's happening in the market. If we get a big sell-off and a downdraft, you know, you've got a sector that we're playing. Behind the trade of the week, this was, let's just check back real quick, shall we? The past couple trades of the week, Sportsman's Warehouse, just slowly grinding up. Before that, I think extremely well. The trade of the week that's been working very nicely. And I think before that was PayPal, and that's been trending nicely as well. So, you know, it's easy when the market just moves higher and you look to focus on buying those dips like we saw today that maybe hopefully will be the trigger for NK. But that's that on the trade of the week stuff. Any questions? I focus on NEO real quick. I'm not going to get sidetracked, but look at these relative volumes, 18, 85, and 16 times. Those are interesting plays. But when you want to see a little different view, this histogram will give you aggressive, which just forget, we always want to adhere to stops. So that's what the AI did on 100 share, risking 100 share stop out there. And then moderate, roughly about the same. So you can just hit that number right there and you can toggle through. Hopefully that works. All right, what did I want to talk about next? I wanted to talk about, yeah, the 1 minute volume. And we're going to take it a step further this week. I want to show you guys how to add it to your account because it's really easy. Let's start with FSell. I'll come back to FSell, but I'm long FSell in our account. And let me bring back up the trade by clicking it. Again, I've time-stamped the FSell purchase in our other account. Nice, pretty good purchase down here on this little intraday pullback. There we go. Yesterday I was watching FSell and I was a little bit bummed. Actually, let me just talk about that real quick. I like to, now I'm going to save that because that's the next topic. Let's just say, in terms of an example, I sold a little bit in pre-market, which doesn't matter. What we're going to focus on here, I'm going to move back, is the close of day. Got a little bit off here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Wish I had gotten some off here. Kind of just watched it bleed. I broke my moving average. Okay, so now we're in defensive mode, watching. Boy, it really wants to hold that line, doesn't it? I was really keen on that line being held. And so I have a couple screenshots for you. Yesterday, I thought maybe if this plays out, it might be interesting. What I noticed in real time, there it was, sideways action. It didn't want to really break that 278 level. Over here, the 1 minute volume. And as I kind of chirped about earlier, I'm not interested in 1 minute candles. I'm interested in 15-minute candles. But trade ideas can scan down to a very fast time frame of 1 minute. And we're looking back 10 days on FSell, and it's saying, what does the 1 minute candles look like for 10 days back on the FSell? If we quantified all of those, well, 100% would be normal volume. Well, all day long, or I shouldn't say all day long, you can see midday here, the volume was just dead, and I kept looking over to see if volume was coming in. All of a sudden, I looked over, and 1 minute volume ticked up to over 200%. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I better screenshot this because this could lead to something. And it kind of did. It just kind of showed you, and the purpose of me showing you that is that it could lead to, we can't predict, but this might be the closest we can come to predicting a situation like this, where you have really tight candles and the next direction, the next spike of volume is probably going to tell the tale of which way we're going. Well, it worked out, and that kind of popped into the close and gave me a little confidence to carry the rest into it. And again, I'll talk a little bit more about this trade in the next one. But what I want to do here is show you guys how you can add 1 minute volume to your single stock windows, as I have done up here, because it's not intuitive. If I go in right now, you're like, yeah, I know how to do it, Steve, whatever. But notice that it's not there. So I'm going to show you guys how to create this custom formula so it will show up here when you go to configure your single stock window and you can grab it. So real quick, let's bring up Chrome, and this is the Trade Ideas website. And if you're not aware, you have account features here. And if you log in up top, you're logged in, get yourself to the help, and I believe what it's on the, where was I? Yeah, account. You go to the account menu. There we go. We're in the account menu. You're logged in, good to go. You need to come down here to custom formulas. Now, I'm going to try not to go too fast, and remember, guys, that this is being recorded and it should be posted up at least by tomorrow morning or tomorrow midday. You can come to our Trade Ideas channel and watch how I did this. I've got a lot of custom formulas in here. You will not have that many, but you will have this button that says Create New. I would suggest you just use the drop down to use your very first one. If you got U1 available, select U1. I'll take the last one available. I'll take U97, and I will create new. So step one, select the universal number you want, and then hit this button here. And this is where it gets, not tricky, but this is all you have to do. In the source code, the command for this is bracket, capital V, vol, number 1, close bracket. You can add description. I've already got it in there, 1 minute volume, and the units are in percent, and you're good to go. That's it. Looks like it worked. Perfect. So I can return to my list, filter codes. Actually, no, I wanted to return to the list. And the 1 minute volume, I just basically doubled it. So hopefully I didn't go too fast. Just go to your account screen on trade-ideas.com, and in account, find custom formulas right here, and then go into there and add a new custom formula and do what I just did, adding those commands. Again, that command was bracket, capital V, volume 1. And once you've done that, your account is good to go. You can come back to the single stock window and configure it, and you can go find it in the search tab. And it's one of the things that I find valuable, especially in the moment, when you're looking for, something's going to happen, you just don't know which way, but volume is really your only indication of what might happen. That's comes in handy. And I think Andy looks at that a lot too. I don't know, do you look at it a lot? I look at it a lot. 1 minute,
Oh
5
yeah,
minute
absolutely.
volume.
Absolutely. I look at 5 minute, 1 minute volume. They're my top two in my single stock window as well. Hey, Steve, before you move on, there's been a couple of requests for your layout. And also I want to remind everybody, or just maybe tell you if you're hearing it for the first time, in the channel bar, there's a channel called Traders Vault. And that has all of our best, he's showing you right here, it has all of our best alerts in there. A table, somebody mentioned, Steve has that one in there, and there's some really good, he's circling for you. Look for the key. And there's some really good.
Are in there.
Yep, they're in there, and there's lots of them in there, like 36 of them. So you have access to that.
Yeah, plus if I gave my whole layout, there'd be extra windows that have symbol lists that'd be empty. You wouldn't really understand it. So you can get them piecemeal, one by one, at the Traders Vault. And let me just show you. If you're like, well, how do I get that? Well, once you click on that channel, you'll have a bunch of windows open. You just say, oh, that's the one that I saw, the jam down by. Save that to my cloud. And I also saw that the A table. I just want to right click the A table and save that to my cloud as well. And then once you leave that channel, you go back to your own layout, you can immediately load from the cloud, and those will be the last two at the top, the A table and the jam down. So that's the way you can move settings around and then land them onto your layout, and then lock it in, of course, by saving your layout early and often. Yeah. It's a great chat throughout the day. And we feed each other ideas sometimes. And he said to me right back here at $1.35, hey, Real Networks just went off on my scan, but I don't like it. So he set the tone right there, right? And I said, okay. So I pulled it up, I'm like, oh, man, that does look good on the daily chart, but yeah. I looked over here, 1 minute volume was like nothing. Relative volume was 0.3, was doing nothing. Total shares, 48,000. I'm like, oh, this thing's, no, I don't want any part of this. I look over 5 minutes later, and wouldn't you know, the trading gods have a wonderful sense of humor. For both of us, we both laughed at how we passed on it. But there was an opportunity where I used that volume to keep me out of a perfectly good trade. It's going to happen. It won't be the last time. But the segue here is that a lot of the junk stocks are running. And again, Brian has kind of turned me on to a few of them. What I want to talk about is how I'm trading this, because I've noticed these stocks that are moving, you really leave a lot of money on the table if you get out too soon. And so I'm going to propose that these are the perfect opportunities to try and sell and take profits in thirds. Now, I was lucky enough to get 1/3 off. Let's go ahead and click into FSell. I time-stamped it on there. There we go. There was the buy of it. There was my anticipation buy down here that these stocks were moving, and FSell's probably just a day away from having its day, and there's really no technical reason not to get in it. Let's take a chance. And then where's my first third sell going to be? Well, I look left, and right up here, 275. That was the very first, highlight that. That was the very first level of resistance. So I put an order in at 275 and got out of 1/3. Perfect. I'm super happy. But the point is, let me go through a few stocks here. This is a list of ideas that's just exploding right now. I mean, I actually managed to lose money in this one solo. I actually managed to lose money on this day right here. Look at it now. So interesting. Other ones, Ballard Power, very similar to FSell. What you're noticing is a tremendous amount of money being added to your trade overnight in these incredible gaps, as these things are just not stopping. Maybe, as I said, they're following the Tesla print, possibly, but just a few more. Bloom Energy. This one still, could have a couple good days. BLNK was another one. Look at those. You turn your back on these, and they're just going to make you cry because you sold too early. That's just the way these stocks are trading right now. NEO, there's another one. Look who had an early glance on NEO. That was our AI seeing something back here, and wow, that was nice to put that one on the radar. So what I'm going to say to these is, I think the best way to trade these is in thirds. Sell that first third when you get your move, which I did at the very first level, 275. Okay, check. I would have loved to have sold that other move at the second part of the open, but when I looked left, the next level of resistance really wasn't until here. So I was trying to sell up here, but didn't get it. But I'm going to hang in there, guys, because I think tomorrow it could do what those other charts were doing. I just showed you. I think you can get out of these too soon. Now, let's say I do get lucky and the trading gods smile on me and I get my second third off tomorrow here at 3 1/4. What I'm going to do with that third is I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to try and trade it, because I would love to participate in something that does that. And I think FSell still might have the opportunity. Am I telling you to jump in now? No, because I showed you where I was positioned. I'm just trying to tell you how I think it's best to take profits. Look left and see where the resistance points are, and especially with these stocks that are moving. This is this round. Next month we might have another round of biosecurity or something, God knows what, but these little small under $5 stocks, they start to come alive, and they literally do this. That's why a lot of people focus on them, trying to trade those small little momentum small caps. But when they get going, the biggest fear you should have is, am I getting out too soon? Does that make sense, Andy, or am I just rambling?
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, plug. Oh, did I not talk about plug? I probably should have added that one. Oh, here's another example. Gap. So I'm really hoping for the gap stuff here in FSell as we move forward. But that's this inning. There will be other plays and other setups where you start to see those small cap stocks running. And if you get a basket of 6 or 7 and you start trading them and focusing on them, try taking profits in thirds. And if you can let that last third just hang on, sometimes you can make most of your money in that last third with the insanity gap ups that these stocks can have. And they come and go all the time. And it's just, this happens to be this round. Well, I went through the sectors, guys, and again, we're talking about full circle. The NASDAQ, which is the one that's leading us higher, and that's a little bit of a goofy candle there. I really feel like we're in for a couple-day pullback. I agree with Andy purchasing those SDSs as he did in our account for a bit of a hedge. There's a nice inverse there, so maybe a couple-day pop on that and get out and ride the next wave and just see what happens. But I kind of went through a lot of sectors here, and I don't want to force anything. The only thing I want to keep forced is the current trade of the week that we have on. There's no reason to get out of. And I didn't see a whole lot of sectors that look interesting, so other than the gold miners. And so I want to do this. I'm going to show you one more feature. Let's bring up the gold standard, if you will. Oh, I didn't do that correctly. Click the chart, then type Newmont Mining. Okay, that's the bellwether, the gold standard. No play on words there. Pretty good looking chart. I like these kind of situations. Move up, sideways, sideways, sideways. Here comes the 10 period. Probably an anticipation day. Who knows, gold might pop overnight, but check this out, guys. Remember, we have this feature called Similar Tab. What are some similar stocks? We can just go right to some really good setups, I think, because we've identified the GDX looks good. Let's go ahead, and I'm just going to start marking up a few. I'm going to start marking up a few. What do we call it? Price alerts here. Let's bring out the price alerts. Those are the ones from last week. I think there was a pretty good meat on the bone for a lot of those trades. Let's wipe those out, and I will share these in a few minutes. And then I will bring Scott in for final announcements. But to start with, let's use Newmont to start with. We'll just put a high in, put an alert right there above today's high. Let's see if there's anything else on our similar list that we can find that we really like. Nope, not enough volume there. Not going to chase that. It had its move today. SA Gold had a big move. Royal Gold, I like that one. Let's go ahead and pop a price alert on that. Nice consolidation. It's not gotten ahead of itself. I bet AU Gold's gonna, oh, AU Gold's moving. We don't want to chase. We want to maybe find some laggers here that haven't quite moved. Never traded that one. Nope, can't chase that. HL might be good, but a couple more here. Oh, EGO might be on. A lot of these have already gotten their start. Harmony Gold, oh my God, they got Harmony Gold. So I'm not going to force too many of those, but I am going to show you pause, silver. Look at silver here real quick. This is really shaping up, I think, for that and gold. I think silver and gold riding that moving average. That's why some of those gold miners are looking so nicely. But if we want to participate in silver, I think we're going to have to put a, I'm going to put an alert right there above yesterday's high.
Textbook cup and handle there and pause.
Let's draw it so people can see it.
Yep.
There's your cup and there's your handle.
Mm-hmm.
My teapot and my spout. Let's play on the similar tab here just a moment, see if there's some other good silver names before I turn it over to Scott. That one, pretty good move today. Again, we're looking for some consolidation. SVM, not bad. We'll go ahead and mark that up. It's a low cap, a low priced one. People like those. Coeur d'Alene. Oh, core mining. Well, it's Coeur d'Alene. There's pause. AG. Oh, AG's looking good. We're going to go above. We're going to go above 2 days highs right there. Kind of break out of that wedge. Wampum. That one's been going. I think that's pretty much it. Now, remember, you can always play the gold miners on their own merits using the GDX or Nugget if you want. This is a crazy inverse, but it will be a good for a 2 or 3 day trade, kind of like the SDSs. They have a little goofiness to them because they're doubles, but the Nugget keys off of GDX, and this is just looking pretty solid. Matter of fact, we actually, if you want to get technical about it, we actually closed above a key breakout level there today. So I'm going to end on that. I think that's your focus tomorrow. I'll bring up the price alerts that we just made and share them out. Looks like we've only got a few of them here. Share, and I'll drop these into the chat window. And then I'll put up the slides for Scott here. Price alerts. I can't type today. Paste and send. All right, so check the chat window there in the GoToWebinar floating window, and you should have a cloud link if you just want to have the same price alerts I just set. Thanks for helping out and the questions, and anything you didn't get answered, please just send to info@trade-ideas.com, and we'll make sure that you get a good response. So I'll bring in Scott.
All right, thank you. Yeah, a couple items on the way out. We do have a ebook that's all about how to use earnings season to your advantage. There's another earnings season coming up soon, so make sure you've got it and read it. And it's also got some strategies that you can import into your layout. It's got the links in there right in the ebook. So trade-ideas.com/earnings. Go there and get it. There's a new podcast up recently. You can find that by searching for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to your pods and adding us as a subscription to download the latest stuff. And check out some of the more recent ones. We've got some good interviews in there, some good information for you. There's a code that's good, summertime. It's good for 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas or upgrade from standard to premium. So write that down and use it if you want to start your subscription or upgrade. And as always, send all your questions to info@trade-ideas.com. That goes to our help desk. You can follow Steve on Twitter @TodayTrader. We've also got @TradeIdeas and some other handles. So if you follow one or two of them, you'll eventually see them all. And Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook handle. Like that on Facebook and share what we post with your friends. We're going to get the recording up later on tonight or tomorrow, so stay tuned for an email from GoToWebinar tomorrow with a link to where you can find it. Thanks, Steve and Andy. Why don't you guys have a good afternoon? Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on Thursday.